Ah, sequels. The thing that still keeps me relevant on this platform. I don't know if maybe I just have a problem with the number 4, but I seriously cannot catch a break from making videos about them, and it's no different for the 4th SpongeBob movie that came out last Friday. And if you didn't know this thing came out or even was real, trust me when I say you didn't miss out on anything. Once again, let's dive into a movie made by people that, once again, don't understand what made their characters and original plot actually good. Now, I would like to mention that SpongeBob is something I hold close to my heart as being a big part of my childhood. Yet, recently, it has been on the decline, and honestly, it's extremely noticeable when you put up the very first episode of the show and the most recent one. I think my one pro about the movie is that it's on Netflix and not Paramount Plus, even though it makes no sense why it's on there, because honestly, who has an annual subscription to Paramount Plus? So in this video, I want to talk about how we got here and how over time SpongeBob as a character has been brutally mutated into something that 10 years ago would have felt way too unreal. So I think the best place to start is actually the subscribe button, because trust me, it helps a whole lot. Also make sure to like and comment something as well. With that said, the 25 years SpongeBob SquarePants has been in the media, it teaches us how to ruin a character. Now, before we get into the movie that's titled Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie, to show the progression of SpongeBob's character, I want to start in the good old days, on episode 1, Help Wanted. Sorry for the shameless FNAF joke thing, I just had to show my excitement to the 10-year anniversary in some way. But anyway, in the episode, SpongeBob is excited to start his new job as a fry cook at the Krusty Krab. Now, not to go into too much about the episode itself, I just want to say that SpongeBob in the very first episode is something really interesting in its own way, because he is responding to his excitement to joining the Krusty Krab crew, but he is responding to his excitement of a new job and not being overly excited about everything, which is a problem we will get back into later, but at this moment, SpongeBob seems in an appropriate space to be energetic, and it makes sense. This is a trend we see throughout some more seasons of SpongeBob, because he is never trying to be obnoxious and actually shows other emotions besides constant excitement, and only feels that way when it would realistically matter. I think probably one of the last times SpongeBob is like this is in the SpongeBob movie, where it's not shy of jokes, but also is fully capable of making the emotion matter. Next, I think we should move on after the original movie, because this is where we see our next change for SpongeBob, and for better or worse. SpongeBob gets some redesigns in his life to make him more animated with each season, and also takes advantage of the joke that SpongeBob laugh is annoying to some people. It's an extremely unique laugh, but also when used continuously with each episode, they start to play into the joke that it's annoying, and sometimes this is actually funny, but we will see how this joke gets really old really soon, I promise. Now, skipping ahead to the second SpongeBob movie titled Sponge Out of Water, this movie took things in a different direction, because SpongeBob did feel different. He was much more energetic, which in terms of the movie actually benefited the story, because it shows how carefree SpongeBob is during this big event when everyone else is miserable. I also think that this was the last time this personality was used, because after the movie, the show started to realize that its original audience obviously has grown up and doesn't care as much for newer episodes of the show. So instead of appeasing the people who used to watch the show, they started to appease the people who are currently watching the show. And honestly, rightfully so. Because although I am talking about the downfall of the character, I do have to admit that trying to go after an audience that no longer cares would be dumber than dumbing the show down to an even younger demographic. But even though I understand it, doesn't mean I have to like it, and also I still have a lot to break down about SpongeBob. So as we enter the new era of the show, obviously as I mentioned, they dumbed the show down by a lot. Instead of actual jokes, they just use slapstick and whatever is random to get laughs. And with the character, SpongeBob is now in a stage where it truly seems like he is constantly excited, which probably is for keeping people engaged with it, because sometimes the bright lights and screaming is all some people need to be entertained. And obviously that's up to a person's interpretation, so I won't make fun of anyone who does find this stuff funny. Now let's actually get on to the third movie, cause yeah, this was originally my least favorite until the newest one, but everything felt so unoriginal, and this for me was the first time I revisited SpongeBob because it had been a while, and what do you know, it's gotten even worse. Like honestly, he's really insufferable at times, and it really seems to be putting Tom Kenny to work really hard to keep everything up. And I feel bad, honestly, because I want to remove the artist from the art because Tom Kenny is an extremely talented voice actor and someone I would want to strive to be. But it's too bad SpongeBob has become worse, but I'm hoping he's still happy in his job. But the perfect transition is that SpongeBob seems to push him to his limits sometimes, because of how demanding a constantly over-the-top character can be, and the constant laugh and character voice can start to hurt after a while. And this is where we get into the next part, where Tom Kenny, believe it or not, is getting older with each season, and him pushing his voice more and more might actually be hurting it, because your vocal cords, having that much pressure on them by doing those voices can actually damage it if it's put under a lot of stress consistently. And sadly, this is when the internet has started to realize that SpongeBob almost sounds a bit different than he did back then. This leaves SpongeBob trying to be really energetic, but the voice doesn't meet what is happening. Now, let's get on to the newest SpongeBob movie, and coincidentally, the fourth SpongeBob movie, and easily, you guessed it, the worst. This is the current and absolutely most recent look at SpongeBob. We have gone through different stages of SpongeBob where all of them seem to start with a movie that was made, which proves as a big milestone for the character, and has been going down ever since the first one. This movie is nothing different when it comes to things going downhill, but it's completely different than 25 years ago, or even 5 years ago. SpongeBob has lost all emotion, like he doesn't even seem like the real SpongeBob and more just a corporate mascot for Nickelodeon. Kinda like the Mickey Mouse mascot at Disneyland, which just has the big smile and waves, but doesn't actually have any emotion besides the smile that's always on. It's like staring at a body with no actual soul put into it. And for some examples of this, is SpongeBob laughs at anything and everything, no matter what it is, which always seems to be because the jokes they're telling aren't jokes and just random sayings, and if SpongeBob laughs, it tricks some people's brains into thinking that it's actually funny. Another thing is that SpongeBob isn't excited anymore, unlike how I've been saying, but now he's been deformed into literally over-exaggerating everything, and it gets so exhausting so fast. I can compare it to babysitting a toddler who is given everything it wanted as a baby and now wants a cookie. You don't want to give it to the toddler because, I don't know, maybe it didn't have proper food first, but if you resist, it gets more obnoxious and annoying. The only people who will probably find Saving Bikini Bottom a good movie are going to be the people who don't understand how annoying they themselves are, which honestly would explain a lot because this movie is nothing for anyone above the age at 8 at most. I wish I didn't watch this, but I had to talk about something, and I thought I'd watch this movie just because it had been a while since I consumed any SpongeBob-related content, besides the genuine lyrical genius that is the SpongeBob musical. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment something. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm Enchanted.